Before we begin our presentation, let me introduce my group members. Myself, Abdul Haq, I will be the first speaker, and the second speaker is Mohammed Afraz, and the third speaker will be Mohammed Sabi. This article is written by Russel on reporting on the past, a new approach to improving accounting today. So, in recent years, financial model has been accused by many individuals, academics, as well as financial institutions. The main reason because it has been accused is it is creating more problem. It has more problems. The first problem it creates is the report includes irrelevant information in the knowledge-based industry, and also some argue that the model itself is wrong, therefore the information discreted from the model cannot be relied. Let's look at the example, whereas the accrual principle in the accounting process, where accrual methods allow wealth accumulation and depletion, where the accuracy of estimate is unreliable. Because in accounting, when it comes to accrual method, it's very easy to manipulate. Like for an example, the provision for this year we can assume to be 10%, and we can increase it to 10%, 15% next year. And also, we do not evaluate the estimate. And the next one is the current accruals are mixed with the previous year's accruals. So therefore, the accrual principle has the potential to create more problems in the current financial accounting model. So therefore, there were many criticisms against the financial reporting model. The first one was criticism was raised by the Stock Exchange Commission's chairman Arthur Levitt in 1998. He said that earning management is destroying the quality of financial reporting. Earning management is where the management of a company they purposefully manipulate the financial statements of a business to earn more compensation. So what he suggested was to include more guidelines and to eliminate more discretion, so that it would be easier for the business to counter this earning management. But although they introduced many guidelines, it did not resolve the problem. It is mainly because that the guidelines cause similar and different, different transactions to be accounted in the same way. So therefore, these tighter guidelines resulted in reducing informativeness of financial statements. And also, this model was brought in when the whole economy was accusing the financial statements, because the information in the financial statements were not relevant to the period. It is because when when information becomes irrelevant, there is more possibilities of having larger amount of accounting discretions. So in other words, what happened was, and the information in this period, the current period, they consider is more reliable. But in terms of looking at the reliability, because it was good in the period of industrial economy, but the things has been changed because now we are in a generation of knowledge-based economy, where information has the ability to alter the decisions making. So Russell, he came with a model to counter all these weaknesses. So his main part was to include ex post accuracy of a firm's prior estimates on financial reporting. So basically, he believed that his model could reduce the manipulation and to create it would be give more reliable information. So he accused the like when it comes to accounting, accrual basis has to consider the facts like the net realized value of account receivables, the contingent liabilities, and also the pension. So what he emphasized is that in the previous model, the report, the estimate of the report is not is inaccurate because the reason is I explained previously because one period of accrual is mixed with the another period, so it's very difficult to determine how much it has incurred this year. And also he believes that if we can adopt his strategy by including ex post accuracy of firms prior estimate on financial information, he believes that it is very easier for investors to identify whether there is any overstatements or understatement. So this will help investors to identify or to reward the management who has done proper accounting records and to punish or to take actions against the management who has purposefully or opportunistically, they have made use of the accounting process to earn more compensation for them. So, and also the main problem of his model is that there is a trade-off between relevance and reliability. In his model, the the time taken for to record the event and the time when the event occurred is too long. The length between this period is too long. When the length between these two events is very long, the information becomes very reliable, but it becomes irrelevant in the current decision making. But why he emphasizing this model is because he says that this model will become an incentive for the management, so that when they have recorded accurately the past record, it will become an incentive for them to record the statements accurately in future. And also this system will help the business to record the transactions such as capital expenditures on research and development. In the previous model, it was very difficult to recognize the expenses related to research and development. So now, before we recommend this guideline to be used in the accounting process, now I would like to call upon my second presenter, Mohammed Afras, to elaborate you all with an example. Thank you.
Very good morning, everyone. Thank you, Prof. Siva and my fellow friends. How are you all? I would like to briefly explain about the ex post and ex ante method through this simple calculation. So everyone knows account receivable account, right? So we assume that there is a company ABC, for example, ABC company. So their policy is that 10% of account receivable would be uncollectible, the company policy. So according to that, we are going to go through this calculation. And one more thing, that the company they have two sales. in the beginning and at the end of the year. So they settle down the settle down the accounts through every 6 months. First 6 months settle down, and the rest of the 6 months will be settled down in the next year. Okay, this is the amount. We assume the balance, opening balance is 0 the first year. The first sale is the 110 ringgit. Then it should be the double entry, you know, right? The double entry, account receivable, account debit, the credit sales, the sales account credit goes to the income statement. And this 110 within 6 months they will settle down according to their policy, company policy. So because of they assume that every 6 months they collect from the debtor is will remain same. It's 90 ringgit. The rest would be written off. Okay, according to that the case is 90 ringgit. So the rest 20 ringgit would be written off as a bad debt. So double entry for the bad debt, everyone knows, right? The bad debt account debit, account receivable, account credit, double entry. So it follows continuous like that. And then the rest 6 months sales 120. So for that would be accounts would be settled down in the next year. For example, if it is 2013, then 2014 would be the settled down the amount. For that 120, the account, as I mentioned, the 10% would be uncollectible, their percentage. Right? So 10% of the 120, how much? 12 ringgit. So double entry for the doubtful account, doubtful debt account debit, 12 ringgit. Allowance for doubtful account credit, 12 ringgit. For the first year, everything settled down. And the second year, the 120 will be brought down to the second year in the beginning. Maybe it can be January until June, because 6 months is settled down everything. So second year, 2014, what happens? The cash is same as I mentioned. We assume for this calculation, 90 ringgit is the same amount, and the 30 is the remain with no cash debt as well as I mentioned. So it continues through until 3 or 4 years. Okay. Now our problem is we are going to explain what is ex ante. Ex ante method is like what I explained now. 120 10%, 12 ringgit, right? We normally reported in the accounting method that one. 12 ringgit. Actually, how much was the expense for that year? We assume 12 ringgit, but actually we could know that the next year it's 30. So what happened in the particular 2030, the expense understated. Okay, according to that method, okay, we normally do the balance report method, right? Balance income statement according to the actual method. So account receivable is 120. As I mentioned, the amount 2013 120. Allowance for doubtful 12 ringgit. The 12 ringgit 10% according to their estimation based on the management estimation. So 12 ringgit, then the net account receivable 108 for the best year. I will just explain only the best year. It continues second and third year. Income statement sales 230, 120 and 110. Two sales in a year. Okay, 230. Bad debt expense 32. It comes from the 12 ringgit doubtful debt expense and bad debt as I written of 20. So 32. And net income 198. This is 2013. We assume 2013. This we normally report. Everyone knows this is the normal accounting method. So what Russel proposed that this is not accurate because 10%, how we can know that 10% is the collectible? It can be more lesser. So what actually is account receivable is 120, it remains same, right? Account receivable confirm, recognize. Allowance for doubtful accounts 30. How it comes? That allowance for doubtful 30, how it comes? We took this one, 30. Actual amount we will recognize, normally we recognize in the next year. So that 30 is, yes, that's it. So net account receivable 90 ringgit. Sales 230, same as normal reporting method. And then bad debt expense 50. Before it was 32, right? Because we estimate only 12, but actually it's 30, so 18 understated in the 2013. So 2014 is the actual amount. So if we do this method, this is actual. We don't do normally, right? So this is we call ex post method. This is Russell proposed that if you do this one, because for example, balance sheet, net account receivable 108, and income statement, net income 198. Compare with the actual method, ex post method. What happened? 18 ringgit understated. Reported method overstated, right? Income and asset overstated. What is affected investor decision? For when invest in a company, they look for their income because normally the stock price is mainly they look on the stock price. Stock price comes from the net income. If net income is high, the stock price is high. So it's not actual, right? So they overstated. So that's why Russell proposed that after the next year, after recognizing the expense and the income, you should make a report. This we call ex post method. Exchange method is normally we do the normal method. Another important example we can say research and development. Same case, but in this case the estimation is very risky. For example, company they estimate for their research and development which economic benefit they estimate, expense they already incurred in the particular year. Benefits would be the estimate. The estimation is less accuracy we can say because the research and development can be the particular innovation can be failure, maybe either success. If it is success, then the economic benefit would be okay. If it is failure, so we don't know. It will be happen later, right? So that's why we estimated. For that things, the Russell proposed that if the company wants to increase their investor confidence, so you should follow the ex post method. Same thing for this one. If you follow the ex post method, the investor confidence will increase because everything is accuracy, assets, income, everything accuracy. So the market efficiency will be increased. That's all from my part. Any question on the calculation? Yeah. The rest part will be continued.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Russ. So now I will continue of the benefits of how my colleagues have explained preparing an ex post report. Actually, I have to clarify. Ex post report is actually an external report from the financial report companies prepare. So they prepare ex post report after a lag of a duration of almost one year, so that they have their real estimation, the real expenses, and they disclose these things to the investors. So there are certain important benefits that investors and the companies receives. Even though preparing an ex post report will not totally make the financial reports truthful and unbiased, but to a certain level, it increases the confidence of the investors. Why? Because we see that when the companies prepares ex post report, meaning that they are showing their actual situation to the investors. So what happens is that companies that behave opportunistically, meaning that where certain companies they show their financial reportings, they increase their profits to attract investors to get their IPOs. So these companies they will be exposed when the ex post report are prepared. So equity market is a place, stock market is a place where there are lots of close substitutes. So the investors they will simply shift their capitals to other companies. Okay. And the other important benefit is that when the companies realize that these investors are shifting their capitals, they will stop misleading the investors, because the companies heavily rely from the investors to get their capital to their future developments. So when they see that the investors are shifting their money from their company, so they will start disclosing more accurate and more unbiased information. And the third thing is also, like mentioned by my first colleague, preparing an ex-post report will eventually lead to make ex-ante report, which is the normal preparation of financial report, more accurate. That meaning to say that the management give their estimation for their best. They do their research and they get the best estimations. And after that, when they prepare ex-post reports, from that experience, they make the ex-ante report more accurate. And the final thing is, it creates a well-defined system where from the first benefit we see that the good companies who does not behave opportunistically remain in the market, and the companies who behave opportunistically, they eventually go out of the market, where there will be a competition between the companies. They will compete in disclosing their information more accurately and unbiasedly. However, ex-post reporting will not benefit for certain reasons. One, if a company decides to behave, if the company decides to act in a short horizon, or even if there is investors who are investing in short horizon, meaning to say that the companies are not really concerned about their future development or future economy. So they try to benefit from the short term by showing more profit and attracting investors. And obviously, cautious investors will look before investing. They will look into the company's background, their record keeping. If they have a good record keeping, they will invest. Or if they don't maintain a good record keeping, or they are near to bankruptcy, they will avoid. However, the bullish investors, or in other words, the optimistic or the risk takers, they will continue to invest in horizontal, short horizon companies, which is the bull market. And the second position where it will not benefit, the exposed will not benefit, is when there is high residual uncertainty. Residual uncertainty, it is where the company has done their utmost best in research and got their best estimation, and there might be certain errors due to beyond their control. So it is lack of, maybe because of the lack of information that is available from the market. So when there is that situation, also the exposed may not benefit. And also similarly, if there's a big lag, the duration between preparing the ex ante and the ex-post is longer, then the information may not be relevant, although it's reliable. Okay, now the author of this research, Russel, is trying to bring an example of a real world to his proposing ex-post model. He's giving the example of eBay. I hope everyone knows eBay. So what from eBay we knows that there's a big information asymmetry between the sellers and the buyers, right? So information asymmetry means the seller has more information about the product than compared to the buyer. Buyer has the information only provided by the seller. But we see from our experience, the online platform, the online market is quite efficient. So what do you think is the reason? So let's say we understood that to a certain very good extent that eBay has become a successful platform where the buyers have gained the confidence to buy from this place. So how they gain this is that when the buyer buys the product, the buyer has the opportunity to rank the seller's product. That meaning when they advertise, they give certain things that these things are present in this product, and after they purchase, they give their feedback based on whether actually these products are present or not. So based on this, the buyers are rated, and the sellers are rated, and the more the top rated the seller, they attract more buyers. So here, how the author is relating the exposed model is that here the exposed is given by the buyer, where they give the feedback after purchasing the product. But in our case, the companies gives the exposed, where the seller or the company gives the exposed. Last but not least, certain kind of summary. The first thing is that the preparing an ex post report, like what we discussed, is that it creates more accuracy on the ex ante, and also it creates an efficient market, like what we discussed previously. And the third one is that our friends discussed that a great example is research development. There are certain things that are difficult to measure. These things will be allowed in the market.